right now, so.
Great. So is it? Wait, is it? What's the link to the stream so I can see questions or is it fucking? Or does it just have Great One moderate?
Could have Great One. There's no list of questions.
So he's gonna ask us some shit, but then like he can work the crowd.
Yeah. He can work the crowd definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not as popular as I was.
Hey, wait, what?
Well, probably because you're.
Well, we're live now, so.
Oh.
Yeah,
Perfect.
That's fine. It's whatever. Who cares?
Yeah. So we're gonna open.
Professional.
No, this is highly professional. We're gonna start with I'd say 15 to 20 minutes of introductions and talk about Juan's shower, and maybe we'll get like the war report. He can tell us about the shower, like the actual shower, and then his experience in the shower.
It was hot. It was hot, wet, steamy.
Steamy. Oh yeah. So see, that's a lot of grist for the mill. That'll get us through most of it, and then at the end, if there's any time left, we can briefly mention, Soul Calibur 6. And just remember, we promised that we wouldn't tell people the release date, so don't mention that.
that's very true. Definitely can't say anything about the release date. So
yeah.
No one's.
That's our secret.
Oh, cool. Someone gave me some. Ooh, a little auto host from Party Wolf. That's what's up.
Hi.
If you did that, your buddy from Oklahoma would call you condescending and being an asshole.
Which buddy?
I'm not going to mention any names. Fuck.
Wow. Have you, I'm surprised if you had such a thorough, hot, steamy shower. Salt all over you.
Well, I am in Houston, man. It's not the best filtered shower.
It's on all different. Man, you should have already said it earlier. Hello, beautiful people.
No, like I said, I'm feeling some type of way. I've for a very long time. Shit's great. I'm not tired.
All right.
Give it 4 more minutes for people to show up.
Yeah,
and then
I'm just officially plugged in.
Okay, so you should entertain the people while we wait to officially start.
Okay, well, first I walked into my bathroom, and then
keep going, but remember, tell it slow.
Was it a shower tech trap or something?
I have one of those showers where it's just one big handle and not the hot and cold. Because fuck that, who wants to mess with that mixture?
Right.
And so I turned.
Yeah, I prefer that actually.
Well, it's gotta be labeled
that kind of handle actually. Fuck those mixing this shit.
But hold up, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Like, paint the picture. What are you wearing? You're walking to your bathroom.
When I walk into the bathroom, I'm absolutely ass naked. Like, why would I have clothes walking?
Okay, perfect. All right, great. So so before you're presumably wandering home naked.
Yeah. Well, no, I have a master bathroom. I don't have to leave my bedroom to go into the shower.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask how your mom felt about that.
My mother is safe. I can't subject her to that.
Get your naked ass out the living room.
She's like, I saw enough of that shit the first 5 years of your life.
Why are we talking about Juan naked for the fucking San Francisco?
We're giving the people what they want.
Yeah, everyone wants Juan naked.
Yeah, it's sex sells, man.
You talking about armor breaks and shit, right?
Oh god.
I can't believe you got Hates to take that picture.
Dude, okay.
Actually, I know what happened. Hates is blind. So you were like, hey, Hates, just stand right here.
Nope.
Because they're going to give us food. So we
that is not what happened.
And so Hates was just standing there waiting for his food.
No, I literally had to convince him 8 times to take a picture. And then I even suggested he should just take it by himself because that would be just as funny. You know what I mean? So this picture actually is a compromise to everything.
No, it's It's really.
You would just think about it. Hates in this background just by himself. That's probably the most priceless picture you could ask for, and he knows it, and that's why he didn't take it.
He just has a look of rage, anger, disappointment.
Just soul edge is right behind him. It's awesome.
Like he has the look of a girl who just went out and slept with somebody that she knew she didn't like. He's just like, I'm so disappointed in myself. Why am I here?
I'm fucking better than this. What's happening?
He feels dirty.
Whatever. That event was awesome. There was techno music, Soul Calibur.
Love techno music. It just
Yeah,
sounded like Transformers fucking. Like
those fucking blue-green strobe lights, dude. Those were awesome too.
we needed fog machines though. I think that was a huge miss.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, that was like they did that at Nationals that one year, right?
Oh God, fucking hell!
I watched this video recently of the World Game Cup or some shit like that. And, like Kayane versus Mick, and they came out with some like theme music. And it was,
I
it was like
that.
Biggie Smalls, dude. Like, I was like, what? Yo,
it's like just the people. Yeah, like the low key racism of a 90% white nation. Like.
I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? So
Le Biggie, play Le Biggie.
We need more of that. We definitely need more of that. We need some more theme music, dude, at events. Oh shit.
Fuko, do you remember my sneezing a blanket joke? And to kill all your people? That was funny.
Wait, is he a Native American?
Yeah, he was making, and he was getting angry about me saying "fuck the Indians." So
how did he know which Indians you meant?
I said all of them. I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. The feather Indians.
What the hell?
Juan is so proud of his joke, dude. Just let him be proud of his joke.
I was so proud. I'm still proud of it. I'm still so proud. That shit was hilarious, bro. I was like, because he said, I'll scalp you or some silly Indian shit like that. And I was like, I will sneeze in a blanket and kill you and all your people.
Okay, we should probably get back to the main topic.
Oh yeah, which was your shower? Like, see, Marginal makes an excellent point in the chat, which is why I'm just glad that I have no esports aspirations. So fuck it.
Also, you know that Marginal is older as a competitor than Hates, dude. Marginal's the last breathing fucking last competitive active SE1 player.
Like GuardImpact.com.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I did not know that until 10 minutes ago.
Kayane played Soul Calibur 1.
Yeah, but she was like hella young, dude. You know what I mean? So she's actually 26. When you think about it. She's OG, but she's 26. Right?
Yeah. Infants. Fucking children.
All right, Jeff, you're the host. Introduce your people.
Let's get back into it then. So, just to kind of like give a basis of people who weren't involved in watching the stream and all that, this passing Thursday, March 29th, there is a pre-play event in Frisco called RINGOUT. And I was invited to an exhibition along with Cedric, Ceirnian here. So we got to play in the exhibition. We got to play the game a couple hours beforehand too. Afterwards, I'm sure actually that Hates and Ceirnian played more than myself.
Hey, great one. Mute the mic for a second.
Your shower's ruining it for everyone again.
I'm sure these guys actually ended up playing a little bit more than myself because I got caught in like the drinking vortex, and then the music was playing, so I was having a good time. I actually got lost outside the venue for 45 minutes because I went to go buy cigarettes, and that didn't work out too well. So I'm actually really happy that you guys are here, especially Hates, because everyone wanted to fucking get your perspective on Soul Calibur 6. especially hates.
Especially. Well, I mean, look, I was not in the exhibition, but I had the opportunity. I was just posted up on a station for essentially the entire night, taking on all comers. So, if nothing else, I played a ton, and I'm beginning to formulate knee-jerk opinions. So.
Yeah, I just remember from the three games we literally played. You were using Nightmare, and it's funny because like Nightmare is the only character I really got to play versus the whole event, except for like the ones with Zhanghua versus Kayane. So,
yeah, that's true. We played like 30-something games or something, like 30 games, something like that.
Yeah, Ceirnian and I played a lot of games. We played like 30-something games, and then I played 3 with Hates. And Hates was doing some weird shit, though. Like, right off the bat, he's doing these weird stancing things. And it kind of made me think, like, obviously there's moves that are returning, in a sense. Because from my understanding, Ceirnian started in SE4, right? Like, that's where you competed in.
I mean, Cedric was around a little bit in 3, right?
At the very end of 3, Crazy found me when he used to go to DBC, and I was casual, and he kind of picked me up, and from the Guilty Gear scene, I started playing more seriously.
Okay, cool. So, because when you and I were playing, you were more of a straightforward, like, what I'm used to. You know what I mean? Because I started in Soul Calibur 4, like, when I actually knew what the fuck I was kind of doing.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, it kind of made me a little bit worried about Nightmare, but not in a sense like, or more in a sense of I'm worried about a lot of moves that are going to be coming back, and I just don't know how I'm going to handle them right off the bat. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I noticed a differentiation between you two and just in the little games that we played.
Yeah, SC2 Nightmare plays way differently. I've seen Hades play that character, and it's very stance heavy, lots of movement and stuff.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, if I can just wade into this a little bit, like, when we played Zeph, those were literally the first games that I had played at all.
Yeah, I know, it was really weird.
So, it was weird, and that's actually important, the caveat, like, everything that I'm going to say going forward, that, it's pre-release, everything is subject to change, B, I was playing, we don't have a ton of experience with it, so we're just trying to, we're building the plane while we fly it. It's like, learning as you go and try to win matches. C, I was playing on an Xbox pad. That's exciting for me.
That was not happy times.
Oh, God. And then D, the monitors themselves were not the best. So, like, any kind of perceptions about the game are going to be filtered through all of those elements. But, like, all that aside, my big takeaways immediately with Nightmare is that they've kind of tried to hybridize him. It's like he's got elements of SC2 or SC2-ish or maybe some Siegfried, plus the more Grim Stride, like run at you heavy Nightmare that we've seen from SC3 onward. And so my expectation was like that I thought it would be pretty cool, and I was surprised it was cooler than I thought it would be. And I was just trying to find ways to add more stand stuff and kind of use some of those options to posture up and dominate space and like control it differently and put different things in your head.
Because you ended up playing like a fucking legion of casuals right after that. Because I had to go upstairs. And
just a plea.
They were like kicking us out, and we're like having hella fun. And they're like, "You gotta play 3 games." And then I was like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
Dude. I didn't even see those guys behind me the whole time. No one said anything. They made a girl fucking tell us. The model tell us. And then they ended up playing you, right? And then they didn't even want to play you. They didn't want to play you.
I eventually took a break when some guy asked me super nicely, friend, and he was like, "Can I please play my buddy?" And I was like, "Okay." my hand hurts. I'll take a break.
That's cold-blooded. Whatever. No, I get it though, dude. You're not a casual dude, so it would
basically am.
It's but it's cool that you got to actually play like grind out some shit.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder how well some other old school players are gonna kind of transition, because someone's asking, did moves in general feel safer? Well, one, stepping is safe, and then
I wouldn't quite say it was safe, but it was safer than it has been.
Okay, right? I thought that was just me. But it feels safer, right?
It's definitely safer.
It doesn't feel completely safe.
Yeah, like it splits the difference, right? It's safer, and I think it would probably be even safer than I felt it to be, like on a more responsive monitor. But like, the big difference for me, and there's like a lot of stuff that happens downstream of this, is that movement is safe enough that, like, in SC5, when I think about sidestep or backstep, they're primarily offensive tools. Because the risk is so great. Like, if I don't think I'm going to get damage from trying to sidestep, I probably should just block or press a fast button. Whereas in 6, I feel a lot more comfortable trying to solve problems with movement as a first order option, as opposed to, like, just trying to mash my way out of it like Rock and Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, I agree with that fully on that part. Though there are some things like Mitsu in general that I was trying to solve and I couldn't in the short time we had, but I think most of his stuff that was causing problems was probably steppable.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know Relic B was steppable until I fought Kayane and she was stepping the fuck out of that move.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
One thing with moves being safer, I did notice that guard break moves seem to be a lot better than they have been in the last few games. They felt like they gave more plus on block.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of a normal thing in prior installments, like before 4?
No, actually.
Really?
Or not strictly so. So, like, if you go back to SC2, for a lot of charge guard breaks. So, like, you had scubs where it's like full-on soul charge unblockable, but there were a lot of soul charge level 1 guard breaks that would essentially put people into a post-GI state. Then they reworked that a little bit and gave you guard breaks in, starting in 3, where, there were some frame implications, but they didn't guarantee anything necessarily. I think the thing that sticks out in my mind is Nightmare's AGA in Soul Calibur 3 was a guard break, and I believe it was negative for him. Yeah, it was just foundationally stupid.
Question to you all from Great One, even though he's in the chat.
Wow.
Why don't you just fucking...
Yeah, come on.
Don't cuck us, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm going back and...
What?
But, yeah, one more thing before we move on to the next part is that, in guard breaks in this game, since you can't actually GI them, there's a lot of 2-hit guard break moves that I wasn't able to find a way out of. For instance, Nightmares, I think it was 4/4 BB, does a big overhand swing and then brings it back up. The second hits a guard break. I was testing it, and if you block the first part of it, it didn't seem like there was anything you could do about the second part. So maybe there's going to be ways where you can do meaty guard break moves and force situations a lot more than you ever could in other games.
Totally. That's my expectation. Like, I guess, so there were a few things, because people have been asking me, like, my impressions of it and kind of what I think is going to happen, and there were a few things that I really wanted to cover, while we're doing this. One of those things is, like, guard breaks and kind of, like, what they're going to mean for when you're evaluating characters and situations and stuff. And, another is, some of the, like, other weird options that happen, like, post-knockdown. Like, it's bigger than just pushing mix-ups on people. And they're kind of related, but just from a guard break perspective, like, I think that probably one of the big things to look for in trying to figure out if a character is good is, like, how many reasonably fast guard break attacks do they have? Because that stuff changes the logic of the game in a pretty fundamental way. Because you can't guard impact them, because you can't stop those with like reversal edge. If you have fast access to guard breaks, and all of a sudden people's defensive options become limited to, like, movement and popping a soul charge, and that's about it.
Yeah, and it's also a lot different than Soul Calibur 5, where if you had a 2-part guard break string, you would just be able to just guard that second part and get heavy launches off of a lot of the cast.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting that to see how that evolves in this game.
Definitely. It's interesting that you bring that up too, just for people who started in Soul Calibur 5. Like, there is no just guarding at all. There's not even really an equivalent to just guarding. It's just going back to like a normal GI.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't care going into it. I didn't care either way about the presence of just guard. I was like, because I'm one of those people, Zeph, you and I both, like, we reliably will just guard the first hit of an AA, duck the second, and then do annoying stuff to people.
Yeah.
And so just guard has, like, done me a lot of favors. Same. But then with it gone, I was like, wow, this is really cool.
I like it too, actually. I don't mind that it's gone. I think it's good for Soul Calibur 5 because I am a fan of just guarding.
Oh yeah, I love just guarding. It's just that it created a lot of problems that didn't need to be in the Soul series.
Yeah, it definitely could have been worked on, just like the whole game in general, of course. But
yeah, well, like what I found was happening. Absent just guard as a mechanic to sort of stuff multiple hit strings into stuff like slower things, is that actually I felt like I had greater optionality in situations where I was at advantage. So, like, for example, in Nightmare's case, his SC5 66B is now 66A plus B. It seems to function similarly. Don't quote me on frames or anything, but it's a slow hit that seems to put like create a situation on block where the spacing is good, and I feel like I got options. I was able to knock people down and then forego a standard mix up or a little dumb pokey thing and just force them to block big chunky stuff, either because I liked the situation it created afterward or because I was going for guard damage since they were too GI happy or something like that. They put themselves in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. The guard damage is something I was really thinking about with those situations, because if they have to eat certain things now and they have no way to get out of it, I think, guard breaking could be a lot more of a cool strategy in this game than it was beforehand. Beforehand, it was like, okay, I'm going to throw stuff out. I'm not really specifically going to try to break your guard, it felt like, for the most part. In this game, I can see that kind of being a thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, guard breaking is something that I would do in SC5, but to your point, it's more opportunistic. Like, you sort of find yourself in a place where a guard break becomes... this is on the table now, and they'll start to optimize toward it. Whereas now you can just, based on a whole slew of factors, you can decide whether or not you want to go for that from the beginning, or if a given situation, like, let's say, again, Nightmare, because it's like all I played, where a standard situation is I have some kind of advantage, I'm going to run up, put you on a 50-50. I'll either grab, or I'll low kick, or I'll throw out something mid. These types of guess situations, I mean, typically, if my opponent guesses correctly, I'm probably going to get hit. Punished. Like, they'll duck a throw, or they'll block a kick and tag me with something, or if I go for a really beefy mid, like a launcher or something, is going to get punished. Well, if I don't want to mess with that because maybe my life is low, or I don't want to give them an opening, I can just forego it and go to like my whole different library of stuff that does guard damage and maybe creates some pushback, or gives me frames, or does any number of other things, and all of that is viable at any given time. And so you can sort of choose what makes the most sense given like the relative position in the round and the stage, like your life levels, how many rounds you got, like all that stuff. And so it felt like I had more optionality. It felt like the things were ultimately a little more complex because Just Guard wasn't there to bail people out.
That makes total sense. So you got to figure out different options for because Just Guard was kind of like a brain dead. You could just do that. You know what I mean?
Oh hell yeah!
You did everything. So.
And it rewarded way too much at certain points.
Yeah, and it rewarded certain characters more so than others, like vastly. So I'm kind of glad it's not in this game.
Yeah, as much as I like Just Guard, I'm glad that it's not in the game.
We've solved it. What about so? What instead of something that's gone? What do we think about the new mechanics like Anime Edge?
So yeah, anime fights, dude. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh,
I don't
great
really
one asked a
know
question. We
about
can
those.
answer that later. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, actually, you're right. Because
Oh.
this is kind of an important question.
What
It
is the
says,
question?
Question to you all. You keep hearing people trying to compare this to past games, but I've heard from people I respect that it's really its own game. What's your take on that? Me personally, I am one of those people where I'm like pulling at familiarity. So to me, it just feels like a fast Soul Calibur 4. And how I feel about people comparing it to past games, to me, it's understandable. But I'm not against people saying it's its own game either, because it is its own game.
Yeah, it felt like a mix of the past games, but I think you probably have a better insight when it comes to Soul Calibur 2, but for me it felt like a mix of a lot of the old games. They just added certain things in, like for instance, stepping is more safe. It's not Soul Calibur 2 safe, but it's not Soul Calibur 5 unsafe. So it's kind of in the middle ground there. The game's definitely faster than Soul Calibur 4, which was underwater, and Soul Calibur 5. I'm pretty sure it should be. I'm not sure I have to play 3 again, but it kind of reminds me more of 3-ish when it comes to speed. But I'd have to definitely play the game again to find out.
Yeah, 3's not a bad comparison point for like the pace of the game and the kind of relative movement options. Like comparing it to past games, though, like this, fuck it, we already started in a place of controversy. I think that's marketing dribble. Like that's a talking point that someone gave someone else, and now that's what we're doing. Oh yeah, it's like Soul Calibur 2 because that game was popular and it sold.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, it's not, at least on like superficial levels or like even in a direct gameplay sense. But here is how it is like previous games. Only in the sense that, like when I think about fighting games, like every fighting game series like tends to have some kind of a core mechanic to it. Like Tekken is about movement and just raw spacing, for example, is like a non-Calibur game. Soul Calibur 5 is it's about sort of understanding options that beat other options and bravely like slamming your face into the other guy. This system with the slightly safer movement and the pace at which is taking place, it gives you it seems that it takes things back to previous Soul Caliburs, wherein they were really games about understanding your position. So this is more than just raw spacing, but it's rather using movement to solve problems and to push people to a point of the stage where they don't want to be. It's creating opportunities where if you do something stupid, I can really hurt you for it, and things like that. So in that sense, it's like a return to form, but it's also, I think it's much more its own game than people are willing to give it credit for. Yeah, and like, I don't know if saying it's like Soul Calibur 2 is gonna make competitive people play it more, great. It's exactly like Soul Calibur 2.
Like,
no,
Calibur
shut
2.
up. No, it's exactly like
Exactly like Soul Calibur 2.
It's basically just a reskin.
Link main.
That's funny.
Oh.
So about the anime fights though, the reversal edge.
Anime Edge, yes.
Okay, so
They're
I kind of
weird.
been thinking about it. They are weird. I think it's weird because I just don't understand it. But it kind of seems. I was talking to, I think it was Marginal. He mentioned something that. Are we able to reversal edge guard breakers, or does that get us fucked?
I believe
it gets us fucked. Yeah.
Okay. And then for someone who can just kind of mash out shit, you can use reversal edge if you're not that fast of a character.
Yep.
And also the meter build is probably the biggest highlight in my opinion, if you do guess right. But that's the thing, it's kind of like to me it seems like you're just gonna be guessing. It's like a new form of throwing, like a new meta of throwing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like what are your thoughts on it, Cedric?
So taking away from the mechanics, since that's where competitive players are naturally going to go to how effective it is. Before I get into how effective it is, I really like how it looks. It creates some really cool cinematic things that happen in the mid fight. Like if you dodge and you hit somebody and you get a combo after, it looks really nice. But that said, I'm kind of iffy about it because on block it's safe. You can step the hell out of it and punish it really hard. But it puts you into a mix-up situation where you're kind of mixing yourself up. So yeah. I don't particularly like that aspect of it, where if I choose wrong, I get punished for it, even though I initiated it.
Yeah.
On the plus side, you can end the whole round with it. If they're low life, you can throw out a reversal edge, and if it hits them, they're dead, and it parries just about everything. So there's a plus when it comes to that.
And there's kind of cool shit that happens. Like I was watching Mitsurugi do some weird ass fucking like 3-hit combo after he guessed right. That shit was pretty lit. I'm actually really a fan of like the aesthetics of everything.
Yeah, like I mean, for me, like I'm not an anime fan. Like for anyone who knows me, like I mean, the aesthetics of, but I love reversal edge as a mechanic, because in the same way that I love all of these things that are like landmines for scrubs. They're because I mean it's reversal edge. It's about like 2% of reversal edge, and this is again early impressions. Things can change. I could be completely wrong, but it feels like 2% of that of reversal edge is like it has some utility in very specific game situations and is cool, and 98% is it's a way to make beating bad players easier, because they are going to be so tempted to do that shit. Think about. So like it's, and kind of expanding a bit like on what Cedric was saying, like when you consider the risks and rewards, like so just initiating it, you're taking a fairly significant risk because it's incredibly linear. Because even if I think you still take like chip damage on hits that you absorb, it costs you Yeah, so okay, so you're throwing out a linear attack. You can take damage while you're doing it. It costs you guard meter, and it loses to like break attacks and unblockables and all that stuff. So there's a foundational risk that is involved just to do it. And then what can you gain if you pull off successfully? I mean, you get like a grip meter. That's awesome. You get some amount of damage if the hit connects, and then you create like a really complex zero-sum situation where like the odds are you can win a little bit, you can win big, you can lose a little bit, you can lose big. It's like it's I don't know. I'm not in love with that. And then the downside. Like, the downside is if you don't do any of that right, if you don't get rewarded with that complex situation that might still end up hurting you, then you're probably getting launched, or you're taking more damage or something like that. So it's glorious. It's perfect. People are going to reversal edge and get murdered and put themselves like blinking guard, and then you blow them up again. Same thing with guard impact. It's like, by all means, come at me with all that stuff all day long. I'm just going to sit over here and block. Like.
So you're thinking more on the side of like not even fucking with it really, but using it against your own opponent.
Yeah, like I mean, so
for scrubs, that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, dude. So look, I think there is some marginal utility in reversal edge, like against Grow, for example. That's gonna like let you get through a lot of his stupid garbage. And just as an aside, Grow has way too much range. Like look, or at least like I don't know. Like I watched the videos, like he's fine. He's short range. No, he's not. He has invisible hitboxes. But
his AA is very.
Oh yeah,
3B feels really really fast. It feels faster than any other 3B I've seen in the game so far.
Super obnoxious. So like against him, reversal edge is But then you got to like understand what his best options are off of that once you initiate. So you got to know what he wants. But like apart from stuff like that, no, it's like the numbers don't really seem to be in your favor.
Actually,
so I think
they are in your favor a little bit. We were testing it a little bit, and if you both do the same options as each other, like for instance, if you both hold guard or something like that, you'll be the one who comes out on top if you tie twice in certain situations. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
No, yeah, because what I mean is when you factor in just like the fundamental risk involved in initiating it to begin with.
Oh yeah, taking that into account, yeah, it's really unsafe.
Yeah, exactly, because you are risking damage to get like a little bit of damage in a mix-up, and that's if everything goes right. Because of that, I think for me anyway, my initial plan, and really the same thing applies to GI, is my goal is to win while using like both of those mechanics as little as possible. Because I think it's cleaner. It gives you like more long-term viability to just like turtle up and move around and kind of save your own self. But
I don't really fucking wanted to really mess with RE, to be honest with you guys, but it did look kind of cool. I was getting hyped, but I was just so involved with learning everything else that was kind of like familiar and not familiar.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to kind of sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna break this down.
Yeah, we didn't have nearly enough time to do any of that.
And I understand that people wanted, from what I understand, people really wanted us to use reversal edge.
Yeah.
Like that was the fucking meme of the whole tournament.
Because it's so hype. No, ideal outcome for Namco is you just reversal edge all the time, and then post-fight interview talk about how it feels exactly like SC2.
That's terrible.
It's just hard to think about new stuff like that when you're in a tournament situation. We used it a little bit off stream when we remembered about it, but overall, like, we didn't have enough time to get used to it, so our muscle memory wasn't thinking, okay, I'm going to reversal edge in this situation.
Yeah.
I think that's what it just came down to.
Like, there's literally times when, even in our longer set that Ceirnian and I played, there's times when I would just sit there and pause because the moves are a little bit different, so I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But on the other hand, it was like, it's fine because it was all fun, you know? It was just great to be playing Soul Calibur 6.
It felt really good to play it.
Yeah, we were getting hyped as shit, and there's like 4 of us, and we're just screaming.
That part should not be lost. Like the fun factor is like, seriously there. I mean, granted, like every new Caliber game is really fun when it first comes out. But like this, I think this one feels like it has legs. Like it was a very good experience. And it seems like promising over the longer term.
The overall feel of SC6 for me is I really do think that it's going to attract a lot of the older players, but it still feels really new. And the main reason why I figured this out is because I was afraid that I was going to kind of suck because it might either drastically be too new or too unfamiliar for me. But I did okay in my head, so it's like, of course,
you got beat by a girl.
I know I did get beat by a girl. It's fine. It's fine.
No, that's not fine. No, like I'm sorry. I can go to YouTube.com right now and tell you exactly why.
Don't go to YouTube.com, please. And no, so I'm still getting over that shit. All right, I just told you in confidence, bro, that I'm like low key depressed. Whatever, dude.
No, it's great.
But I do, in general, think that the game is going to be well received. I think it seems like a great ass game too, even though it wasn't even a complete build. Yeah. The only fucking complaint, only complaint I legit have with the event was the controllers.
And not the music?
That music was banging.
The music was good when I was a little bit drunk. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I was feeling myself after a couple drinks. But when I was trying to, like, listen to the game, yeah, that shit was annoying. Shit was hella annoying.
I didn't hear anything from the game.
It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but, okay, so, like, do we want to, because I know we've kind of gone off on tangent, talked about new stuff, and that's Cool. I want to make sure that everyone else feels included. Do we have more questions either from the chat or from Great One? Like someone needs to moderate this.
Posted something.
Look at the Discord.
Look at the Discord.
God, we're so professional.
Did y'all feel like there was a Zwei in this game? I remember
somebody who was really bad. No, I didn't. Out of the things I've seen so far, everyone had a lot of powerful, cool stuff. Sophie felt a little weird. I only played her for a little bit, but I didn't have enough time to really delve into that character.
She seems really good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of completeness, because just calling out what a great observer I am. Did y'all feel like there was a Zwei in this game? I remember Hates playing SC5 pre-build and saying Zwei was pure hot garbage and remained that way. I'm so smart. Which characters seem better or worse? Like
Mitsu seemed really good from the.
Oh yeah. Mitsu has fast guard breaks, man. Yeah, like that's gonna be. I mean, that's what convinced me that fast guard breaks are gonna really matter. I was like, oh wow, I have to drastically reorient the way I'm thinking about up close fighting and my defensive options.
Gro, I didn't think he was bad. Amazing. I didn't think Gro seemed bad. He seemed like he had some decent fundamentals that you can work with. He had some weird gimmicky mix-up stuff he had. And when he's in the soul charge mode, he had that weird teleporty stuff. So, I mean, as long as he has AA, BB, and some basics like that, I don't think he'll be as bad as Y.
I mean, Gro gave me trouble. I think it's part of it is because he's sort of like, he's one of those string characters like Hwoarang and Tekken, just like a budget version. So like pre-release, I don't know. Like ask me like 3 months in when I've had time to really lab it, then maybe we'll find super big holes. But there wasn't anything obvious, and like I said earlier, he had sneaky range. Like I always felt like he was able to just clip me with something, and it was really annoying.
Yeah, that's true. He has a lot of range. Somebody used to ask.
I have very little experience with Gro, but his fucking what was that thing where he teleported in the air? Did you guys see that shit?
Yeah, that's when he's in his soul charge mode. He gets access to teleports.
That shit looks
Yeah, and that's based on like the fighting practices of the historical Vikings. They also teleported around and like fire came out of their eyes, and they all kind of looked like chicks. So I'm glad they've gone for historical accuracy with their Norse character.
Oh, he's Norse?
Oh, you couldn't. Oh, don't act like you didn't know he was a Viking.
I didn't
He's
know.
such an obvious.
I didn't
really because when you think Viking, don't you think of like feathered hair,
Wait,
like complex leather bondage outfits?
He's a Viking?
Yeah.
Like lore wise, he's a Viking. You gotta be fucking with me.
No, again, it's patently obvious. You need to calm down.
You gotta be fucking with me, dude.
Who else was? I guess Nightmare. I thought Nightmare seemed okay, but I was trying to play him like SC3 Nightmare, and he has a lot more to him than that. And there was a lot of moves that we didn't have a move list, and he has so many weird new moves in his stances that it was hard to really grasp it all at that point.
Some are new, and some of them are like old purposed.
Well, I mean, like when he's in his soul charge mode, he gets access to like 6 or 7 different moves that aren't there in the beginning. He even has 2 off Grimstride I didn't know about. He has one where he kicks you off the ground and picks you up, and he has another weird one that just flings you everywhere, and I didn't know about that.
He's got, and he also has a kick. He's got a kick that picks you up out of his low stance as well.
Yeah,
which is interesting. Like, I mean, the thing with it's weird. Nightmare, he's got holes. He's got pretty big holes in his game. But the question is, like, how can we paper over those holes? His revenge mechanic is going to be a big part of that. Either just like doing the raw explodey thing, or like 6A, 6K, that kind of stuff.
Zeph, can you put your mic up a little bit, Zeph?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Tates.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I kind of, like, my orientation, like, and again, it's just new game, new character, kind of starting from basically nothing with like just a few, guesses as to what makes sense and what's good. But yeah, I think like I mean, you don't play him like SC345. It's a little bit of a hybrid version of that, and the way that you brawl up close with him is you just try to set up revenge attacks as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't think people know about the revenge mechanic thing. Basically, with Nightmare, and when you're in the middle of certain moves, if you get hit out of those moves, he'll activate his Soul Burst thing. That move where he he bursts you away and guard impacts you.
The bubble.
Bubble, basically. And you get your soul charge off of that. Like a one-hit soul charge, basically.
Yeah.
So
bootleg soul charge.
Yeah, he's basically has armor on certain moves. I know he had it on 6B. I think he had it on
the drill, right?
6K. Yeah, the drill. He has I think on 6K.
So he had the fucking. It's like an AGI or rather revenge bubble fucking. Implemented in the drill. That's fucked up, dude.
Well, yeah. So he's got it on 6B, 6A, and 6K. And of the 6B is unsafe, but it is also the only mid option there. So you're gonna see stuff like run up to people and 2K them. They've got some frames, or they feel like they can press buttons, and so then you throw out a revenge move. 6A to cover step and attacks. 6K to cover like backstep or whatever and attacks. And then 6B, I guess, if you think they're going to try to duck. So there's like a little bit of a guessing game built to that. And I guess you can also just do like the raw 6A plus B explodey thing, which has revenge mechanics. The downside there is I believe, both mid options, whether it's a stab or the raw explosion, are probably stab punishable by Sophie.
It's more than stab punishable. Okay. Zeph was, when I did 6A plus B, the soul bubble, I think Zeph did Mitsu 3-3B, right?
6-6B.
6-6B, yeah.
Okay.
Basically same shit.
So then basically, so like then I see that probably evolving in where you create sort of a series of high options that cover their movement and their fast attacks, and you'll use that to train your opponent to like block and wait for the unsafe stuff, or what have you, and then that opens up like grabs or low grabs or maybe a slower attack, or just like back up, like run up 2K and then walk away from him because he's stupid. So I think that a lot of his meta will end up kind of revolving around that sort of thing, and then judicious use of stances to be like annoying and to get the right option in the right place. Like his rising A is a big long range mid. Night low stance A is a decently long range low. They look similar if you're feeling panicked, and you can roulette quickly from one to the next. And so like fake outs and whatnot. This is just that kind of stuff is sort of old school but good. Like I want to play around with it more.
Definitely.
Oh, people are starting to ask about counter hit on step and lethal hits in general.
So yeah, about lethal hit, someone was mentioning that it's variant on which move you're using. Like, for example, if I get a counter hit with B6 as Mitsurugi, the actual counter hit animation is different from a lethal hit. So what's the thing that activates the lethal hit?
I think
what I'm talking about.
I think lethal hit, and so this is pure speculation. Like counter hits are like hitting people out of some attacks, or like if you're moving, you can get like run counter and stuff like that. Lethal hits are more your attack blowing up another attack of theirs, like in like a really specific way.
Yeah.
Like I don't think not every move has lethal hit capabilities. But like, if you're throwing out a break attack and throw that into a GI, boom, lethal hit. That kind of thing. Personally, I find that mechanic like right now it is obnoxious because I don't know what the hell to do when I get lethal hit. My experience of it was just like screwing me out of combo damage. But I think that give me time to sit with it and find the optimized versions. You've got enough time to react to a lethal hit because it does like a little mini screen freeze. So eventually it'll be cool.
So people are saying that lethal hits come from when moves hit in the correct way. People are saying that Mitsu's 3B, I guess it catches backstep or something. But yeah, it looks like there's certain things that happen that lethal hits will come from.
That's fucking crazy. 3B lethal hits on people who are crouching. That's fucked up.
On ducking? That's crazy. B6 on backdash? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
B6 on backdash doesn't really make sense to me because I swear I got the lethal hit off of someone trying to just like hit me. Or off of, someone trying to hit me.
I think this sounds like fake news.
I think you got it off me when I tried to step it too. So maybe it's more movement based. I don't know. We'd have to test that out. That's one thing I didn't like about lethal hits was how it changed timing. So with Nightmare, when I got a lethal hit 3B and I tried to do BA after, sometimes they would just be too far away and I couldn't catch them with it because it was a lethal hit. And I was thinking, I'm getting punished for no reason on this.
Yeah, super annoying.
But maybe you can do a Grim Stride after and like catch them with something. I didn't have enough time to test all this, but hopefully there's a way to guarantee something on each lethal hit in the game, basically.
Money Muffins is asking, does A plus B require soul charge for guard break? What happens without soul charge? With
character?
Who knows? He didn't say. Let's run that question back and like go to one that we can actually answer.
Once he says the
did counter hit on steps seem like it hit you really hard? You know people are worried about counter hit attacks while stepping.
Yeah, it's kind of
against Mitsu, yes.
Oh yeah, well, getting lethal by B6, yeah.
That specific time I felt kind of angry about it, but otherwise than that, I couldn't tell really. That was the one thing that I encountered when I was trying to step it that I thought it would be steppable, and I just got blown up. Well, it might be an early build, or it might just be that I mistimed it. I'm not sure.
In at least from my experience in Soul Calibur 4 and 5, that move is pretty much the same shit except for that it does have lethal hit. So you can step it, but I think if you step it to your right, it could kind of clip you sometimes.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that was counting for it too, which is probably more than likely. But in general, that move is the same as every fucking game I played. Just
well, except it's high now. Remember?
Yeah, whatever, dude. That shit's been high for days. I know.
I don't know.
And then that was one thing that kind of bugged me too. Is like that move is good, but it's like the only reason why you can say it's buffed is because of lethal hit, which is just something in the game in general.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, about run counters, if people are scared it's going to be Soul Calibur 5, it's not going to be Soul Calibur 5.
No, it's not.
Well, presumably, right? So, because what we need to figure out is, will there be something like, Pura 44A? Will there be things that are reasonably fast, really good, and on run counter lead to a significantly increased damage or combo potential or both? And for that we don't know because the cast hasn't been revealed.
Yeah, the game's technically not really even done yet. So
yes, it's not going to be released until an undisclosed date.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess when you think about it that way, I was thinking that Soul Calibur 5's movement is so limited in a lot of ways that it felt way easier to punish people like that. But yeah, we haven't had the rest of the characters come out, so it's hard to say.
One thing that I noticed for Wink with punishing, it seemed like recovery just in moves in general is a lot faster than what I'm used to. So I was missing some with punishment, but I'm sure that's just something that'll take with time. But just
it also could be
recovered pretty fast.
Yeah. It also just could be what we were playing on. And also the game was stuttering sometimes too because it was an alpha build, but yeah, maybe.
We were, those fucking monitors in the downstairs area, those are pretty bad. The upstairs was a little better. But
yeah, for sure.
Downstairs is pretty bad.
Yeah.
It makes sense. The screens are fucking like 48 inches and shit, and we're using
that's no excuse. But no, I'm ready for online now, man. Playing on that stuff.
Right? Now we're prepared. Well, it's been about an hour. We're gonna wrap it up. If anyone has any last questions, that I deem worthy.
Yeah, let's machine gun some stuff because I feel like we've been neglecting the people, and that's just no way to be. Like we're here for the people.
Party
we're
Wolf
basically
asks,
communists.
Hey, did you notice the other character teleporting when you kill them with one of those attack throws from Nightmare? And yes, specifically, I noticed that when you do that pick up off the ground, and it turns into the grab, they'll like teleport through the ring sometimes. Oh, but shit. I'm sure that's just buggy. Like
hype, dude.
That's an intentional feature.
That's funny.
Okay, more. Let's go. Come on, fast lightning round. Great one's being annoying. God, I hate that guy.
People want to talk about discussions and throws and their range.
Oh yeah, dude, grab range seems shorter.
Yeah, it does, even for Nightmare.
Kind of annoying, actually. So, I didn't really like that, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, the grab range seemed pretty small. Even Nightmare's grab range was pretty stubby, so I'm hoping they change some of that up a little bit.
And then the fact that you have to like switch up, do a 4 grab basically, that kind of fucks with me. Like I'm thinking about it, and I kind of miscalculate the range because one, the range is not as good as it used to be, and then just having to input that weird shit. I don't know.
I found it pretty easy to adapt to that.
That's gonna be like a killer to me for the first fucking month.
Like again, I thought it was gonna be hard, and what made it click for me is I just wanted to get cheap ring outs with Nightmare, so I had to think about it, and then I was like, oh, okay. You do it twice, and the reward is so good. You get all that sweet dopamine of throwing someone out the ring when they're about to win, and like screw it. Now it's like engraved in my brain.
And if you're a 2D player, it's really natural because, that's just how you throw. You either do back or forward throws. So once you get that in your mind, it's a lot easier.
Ew, that's gross, dude. That's really
You're gross.
I don't like that. I'm not
Let's
gross.
fight about it.
I don't like that.
I kind of
threw me out the ring. Yeah, dude. I was like, fuck. Yeah.
I actually kind of like it a little bit just because it's more intuitive which character's back throw is going to throw you out and which one's going to push you forward.
That's true.
So they're simplifying it a little bit, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing to me. I personally didn't like having to remember each and every single character's B and A throw, whether it's going to ring me out or not. I felt like that was just something I'd rather spend my time researching something else,
Yeah, that's just gonna come again with playing the game too. It's not. It's a nuance, dude. It's really not.
Bunny Muffins is asking: is empty forward jump or back jump gone?
No.
Yeah, in fact,
you can jump.
Empty jump is better than what it was in 5, at least, because in some setups, like empty jump is slower than doing a jumping move.
And then do throws, catch, step. They're not like 100% tracking.
It's kind of the same, right, as normal?
Yeah, it's probably a distribution.
Yeah. That's what it seemed like to me. Like I did see either I stepped a throw or someone stepped a throw, but then I've been caught by a throw trying to step.
Yeah.
So it's.
I know Kayane specifically stepped one of yours, but throughout the whole night I didn't see that until then. So maybe it's hard. As long as it'll make it like Soul Calibur 5 Hilda throw, where you can just step her throw super easily, it'll be fine.
Whatever, man. That's what A's are for.
True.
Wow, great one. That's
really rude.
That's
like, what does Hayes look like? Oh fuck, dude.
They look completely different. Don't be racist.
That's the kind of thing you say if you're confident that you will never listen again. And
what's your favorite new move? Me is personally Mitsu's 22K or his fucking Relic B.
I think my favorite new move is his drill. with Soul Charge because it's stupid. It gives advantage and it has really, really long range, so you can punish people with punish pretty easily with it. It's steppable, of course, but it's a really nice move to have after you have a Soul Charge active.
My favorite new move is Nightmare's Grimstride A Slide B. Yeah, because it's weird. It's like his old in SC2 he had a move where he like just sort of takes the hilt of his sword and punches high with it. It looks like that. I have no idea what this move does. It seems like it's high. I don't know what advantages or disadvantages it offers relative to just Grimstride A. It might be completely stupid. I discovered it by accident and it looks weird, so it's obviously my favorite.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that existed. Did you know about from Crouch 3B with Nightmare? Where he like gut punches you and throws you into the air?
Oh yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What the hell? I didn't see all this shit. Or maybe I did, I was just not wanting
How
to
do you
beat up.
how do you guys like Nightmare's A+B back or forward versus SC5? His A+B in this game is different. His regular A+B is like is a guard break where he does a gigantic golf swing. His forward A+B is him doing Soul Bubble, and back A+B I don't remember. So yeah, it's just different in this game.
No idea. So does Nightmare 3K not tracking matter? Of course it matters.
It matters. I hated that.
It matters, but I don't think it matters. Like, it's not crippling, but it does matter. I think it honestly encourages you to do stuff that's smarter with Nightmare. Like
Soul Bubble. Soul Bubble is not safe at all. It's really unsafe. Yeah. And it pushes you back, but people like Mitsu can punish it pretty heavily.
Also, Ninja Guy, I didn't use Sophie at all at this event. Yeah. I just stuck with Mitsu.
See, how do you guys feel about guard damage in the build? Did it ever come into play? Yes, it came into play only against people who use Reversal Edge and Guard Impact. Like if you don't screw around with dumb mechanics, you don't get guard broken.
Because I remember in our set, Cedric, like we maybe had one guard break.
Yeah.
Like out of 35 games, and that was because we were fucking around with all the fucking like the Soul Charge and the just any guard break we could. But
I think it'll be more of an issue, not issue. I think it'll be more of a thing that'll happen because, like I said, with guard breaks being they feel really good in this game. So I think that you'll be able to actually. I'm sorry, they're called break attacks now. Whatever. Break attacks feel really good in this game, so I think that there'll be a lot of situations where you can force guard damage, and I think that they will be more common than we saw them this weekend. But, yeah, as of right now, we only saw like one or two ever.
Yeah.
Oh, what about the GI win down?
What is oh, those GI win downs, man.
Yeah, the GI win down. So I'm trying to parse this. Because Great One's asking us questions in Spanish.
The GI window was pretty freaking big.
Yeah, it's the frames are active longer, definitely.
Yeah, I imagine that's gonna get probably nerfed a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure. But they felt really long.
Well, here's why I don't mind it at all, and this is me saying this as someone who also like using a lot of guard impact is stupid. Like I don't know. I'm not reliant on GI, and I think that good players will very quickly get to a place where they're not either. It's going to be there situationally. But what I like about the extended GI win down is that you're not in a no longer do you have this shit happen where like someone accidentally jukes you out of a GI. Right? Yeah. Like, because someone is up in your face, like pressing all the buttons, and then they just randomly pick a button that's like a tiny bit slower, but it's still like it's not like they set you up. It's not like they were deliberately trying to syncopate the rhythm. They're just like, oh, here's another move, throwing it out. Well, now you'll catch that too, and I'm okay with that. I don't like rewarding people for stuff they didn't mean to do. Like.
Okay. I don't mind that the frames are longer. It It's honestly whatever to me.
I mostly feel that way, but the reason I care is because throws can be GI'd now, and I've never been a fan of that myself.
I kind of like it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because it kind of limits your option. Like, it takes away another option in post GI. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Throws already can be broken. Well, anyway, we can talk about that another
Those
time.
can also be dug too and jump.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it, like, philosophically, what is the purpose of a throw? Like, I think that a throw exists to call people out for turtling. That specifically, throws exist. So if you're standing there and blocking, which is like the safest thing you can do, that's your opponent's way of being like, stop it. If you are guard impacting, you're taking a risk, and so like, if you're doing something that's risky, like, I'm cool with risky stuff beating throws, like, because they really, I just don't see them as serving any function beyond like breaking open a turtle.
Well, since you can't guard impact break attacks now, I guess it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is would you like the distribution of the options that get beaten by GIs and all that other stuff is like it's you have to think of it differently. It's like GI and reversal edge are all about stopping like quick attacks, and then everything else is just kind of this other order nonsense that we'll have to develop new options for, like probably movement.
Yeah. Vince says, "Did GI against throws have a smaller window than other attacks?"
Didn't you like it?
No.
That would be prohibitively difficult to code.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Though it seems like, at least for Mitsurugi, his AGI in Relic, it's the window is not as active as a normal GI. It's like a on point GI, I guess.
Oh yeah, and somebody was asking about did attacks in general feel safer than other games? I played Nightmare, so nothing is safe, just about.
I don't even know what was unsafe and shit.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know if like CEs punish 2Ks and shit like that.
Didn't test it.
Didn't test it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But CEs being one button was an issue. Not an issue, but it was something really annoying to deal with.
I think it being one button makes it so much easier to use, to be honest.
Yeah, it's nice in that, but then it sucked when you saw me going into a stance and you just pressed it and punished me really hard.
It's kind of the same in 5 though. You're only doing like 236, 236, and you can even shortcut that. And that's, you can 2-3-2-3. Yeah, 2-3-2-3.
Yeah, but that added time makes a big difference. I feel when it comes to reacting.
It adds a implement or effect like you could fuck up too. Whereas, like, you just click one button. That's why I think those supers are kind of cool, though. I don't mind if you take the execution away from the supers. Fine, dude. Whatever.
Let's see. Do you feel like the input changes are deliberately smart or randomly? I think that they're randomly smart and deliberately stupid.
That's a good way to fucking put it. Maybe they just fucking got lucky with this game and everything is really cool.
It felt like they wanted to simplify things and make it more universal. Like, rather than each character having maybe their 1K kind of acts like a 2K, they kind of tried to make it act all like a 2K, if that makes sense at all, like Mitsu.
Like, there's more universal shit.
Yeah.
And they have their own set of move lists that you do with different notational inputs.
No, definitely. Like, Nightmare's 2K and 1K being switched from previous games, like, totally mindfucked me, but I can see the logic that underlies that.
Yeah, Nightmare Stomp now is his 1K and you hold, and now his 2K is just where he hits you in the leg. So it's very, very weird. Yeah, but I think it makes sense. We just have to get used to it.
Let's see here. Will we have a France versus USA? Yes, lost it. Sorry, man. You know I love you.
Yeah.
How did pushback on guarded moves feel compared to previous games? Like, felt like there's a little more pushback in general.
I don't know if there is. I didn't really notice it too much. But then again, there's moves that I was dealing with. Like, for instance, Nightmare 6 AA. I don't know if that's even the fucking move. But it's like the high and then the mid.
6 AA. It's 2 highs. You can duck the second hit.
Okay, so when I blocked that shit, I don't even know what I was really doing with it. It did look like a high, but that's another thing. Sometimes my execution, I don't know if it was the monitors though or the TVs, but my execution for like ducking down after a certain string was kind of wonky, dude. It was weird. Like I could do it sometimes, but then I couldn't do it other times.
We didn't even talk about Soul Charge at all.
Oh, real quick. Let's see. Partisan asks who. That was Bor, son of Buri, husband of Bestia.
Wait, he asked what did he ask?
Who was Odin's father? We're done with SC6. We can talk about Norse mythology.
Wait. Gro is his father or Bor?
No, Bor. Yeah. Like, duh, everyone fucking knows that.
Shut up, dude. No one knows that.
Like, okay.
I didn't even know Odin had a dad.
Like, next thing you're gonna tell me you're not familiar with, Yggdrasil, the world tree.
Yeah, I do know what Yggdrasil is.
Like,
it's
clown.
on plenty of Japanese shit. Whatever, bro.
Whoa, Japanese shit.
Hey, it's on plenty of Japanese games like Valkyrie Profile and shit like that.
Valkyrie Profile is my favorite RPG. But we should probably talk about Soul Charge before we stop.
Yeah.
Soul Charge, I am the worst person to ask out of the three of us about that because I didn't really fucks with it. And I know I should have because everyone was telling me about Mitsu's awesome moves in Soul Charge, but maybe that's just something I need to get used to in terms of meter management. Because I wasn't thinking about it,
I liked it. There's only one thing I didn't like, but I think it's just because it's my initial feelings of playing Guilty Gear. I didn't feel like there was any way for me to really punish it. So if I sat there and I expected it, I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do to punish it. I don't think there is a way unless you're far enough or it just completely whiffs you. Other than that, I liked it.
Yeah, you can't punish it, but I mean it's a defensive, like, really. I mean that's just how you have to think about it. The interesting thing about Soul Charge, I think for people, and I didn't use it too much. I didn't think about it. I don't do shoulder buttons because pads. But like, it is. I guess the way I oriented. Whenever my opponent Soul Charged, that was him telling me that he was about to press every button. And just sort of generally run forward and act oddly desperate. And you can adapt to that. So, like, what it's going to be, eventually, depending on matchups and positioning and all that, Soul Charge will be a way to get people off you when they have a lot of fast break attacks. It'll be a way to back someone into a corner and then pressure them with real dirty shit. But I think that it's one of those things where it does tip your hand. Right? Okay, I'm in Soul Charge now. I have a timer ticking down, and there are certain things that I want to achieve to get value out of this. And your opponent's going to know that and can act accordingly. So there will be interesting interactions that occur as a result of that.
Sounds really annoying, to be honest with you.
I mean, a little bit. But then again, I love it when Killick pops Soul Charge, because then it's like this new mini game where if I can run away until he kills himself, yeah. I feel super happy.
Okay, I feel that. I didn't like dealing with it, especially versus Zhanghua. That shit sucked. Because, especially right now when I was initially playing it, because I wanted to GI all these strings. And in Soul Charge, I can't really do that, when every move they're doing to me is a guard break, it kind of sucks.
You cannot GI a Soul Charge. At least from when I tried to do it, it didn't work.
Yeah, you can't GI a Soul Charge.
Yeah. What do you think of Kratos being in Norse mythology for God of War? Do you think he will? Do you think he will kill Gro? I think he might. It really depends, because Kratos is going to be extra salty. Like the Norse pantheon, they rule a frozen and barren land, and so there will be fewer scantily clad women. This is going to give him a lot of pent up energy. And he will sublimate that into violence and rage, and I don't know if Gro can teleport away from it.
What the fuck, dude?
What? This is for the people.
Somebody's asking if how fast Soul Charge was. You could interrupt it. It was pretty fast, but there has been times where I tried to do it in between strings, and I would just get hit out of it.
Yeah, and then you just see all your meter just fucking vanish. I remember that shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly the frames, but it's fast, but it's not fast enough to interrupt like a BB or something like that.
Guys, can you keep ignoring fucko? Yes.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. How does the
No. Don't make me a liar.
Well, you can ignore them, but
it was the plural you, and I was answering on our behalf.
Terrible. How does the buffering feel compared to old games? Well, hates.
What was the question?
How does the buffering feel compared to old games?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Alright, fuck that. Oh god. I'm not gonna make hates a liar either.
Okay, well I'll just say I couldn't tell. It's hard to tell when the screens are laggy or you're playing on an Xbox controller. It didn't feel bad. I didn't notice it feeling bad, so that must mean it's probably not like terrible.
Yeah, like honestly, I was able to do everything I wanted to do. Like nothing felt weird or out of place.
I could not. If somebody asking, did JF moves feel easier or the same, and I could not tell you because I was trying to do AGA on the pad and I just could not do it. And Markman was saying, I think that there's no AGA anymore. Just frame. I think it was that move. Was it AGA or was it A? I don't remember now. It's hard to tell because, like I said, you can't do stuff on Xbox pads. It's hard. Actually, I played Sophie a little bit, and I was able to get her just frame stabs pretty easily. But that might just be because I played her some before, and I just know the timing. Or it could be that they made it easier.
Apparently, Sophie's TASB hit lethal hits. On without the gesture. Yeah, right? That sounds awesome, right? On with punishment.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Whatever.
I was able to get Sophie's double task B stuff. Like if you hit it towards the tip of it, it'll put them in that stun state and you can do it again. So that's in the game. Yeah. All that.
Okay. That's awesome. I kind of like that.
I'm into it. Like I'm interested to see how Sophie will develop. Because I think she's historically overrated in games with safer movement. Like, so I don't know. Like, if she's got good options, then it could be nasty. But like, when I look at this, and this is I think true across all the characters, everybody does like a bunch of damage. Like, at least all the characters in our build hit like truck. Yeah. So I don't actually see damage potential as a fantastic differentiator. Like, if everyone hits hard, then I mean that's not what tiering is about. And so it's going to be more like utility of moves and setups and how well can you optimize damage and just capitalize on like poor positioning and things of that nature. And that's all stuff that it's going to take us some time to figure out.
Here's something we missed. Party Wolf saying, do you like BBB and AAA being in the game? No. For me.
Yeah, me neither.
Love it.
It wasn't too big of a deal though, but I did mess up. And I would do BBB instead of BB sometimes, but it'll be something that comes with time, honestly.
Yeah, my initial reaction is I hated it because I would accidentally do it. I didn't realize what I was doing at first. Later, I might not care later, but right now I'm salty about it because I've lost matches based on that.
Like, I don't know. I'm a fan of stuff like that. And I think it's because we've got more nuanced defensive options, like putting stuff in that lets you kind of stutter your offense a little bit or throw like weird things out there. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like one of the things I really liked, and I'm sure our boy Mick would attest to this. Like Cassie in SC2 had an extremely delayable second hit on her BB.
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, and so it's like little stuff like that that lets you add some nuance to your basic normals is like kind of cool, and typically leads to potentially some sophisticated stuff like after the game has had some time to mature. And so I like having more options and more levers there, because I think it'll probably amount to something neat. Like I guarantee you, the first time we see someone close out a high intensity tournament match by throwing an AAA or a BBB in someone's face and they forget it, we'll be pretty excited.
Oh, that's good. That's actually a pretty cool way of looking at it. I didn't really look at it like that.
What about guard canceling normals in this game?
Yep.
Oh, didn't you say the window is like you can cancel moves, delay them more, Cedric?
Yeah, well, I felt like I could guard like BG or B guard and then B do something afterwards, and it's a lot. The character moves a lot more like back in the day, from what I remember anyway.
Like they complete the animation more, but you can cancel it.
Yeah. Did you feel like that, Hates?
I didn't try to really push the boundaries of it. I just, I was able to stutter and wiggle into all that like spastic shit, and I was happy.
Yeah, I was happy about that.
All in all, the game seems amazing.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like we can dwell on minutia and kind of speculate about all sorts of things, but like really, the first test is is it fun?
Yeah,
and
it was fun. It was hell of
fun. Past that with all kind of flying colors.
Like there's a video of Cedric and I, and you could just hear us laughing like little girls do, just giggling while I'm getting fucking wrung out and shit. Like I never do that now. I don't do that. I feel like a little child, dude. It was awesome. I was in bliss.
That's really heartwarming.
I was in bliss, bro.
Yeah, like a latter-day Tim Burton movie with a childlike sense of wonderment.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun, though. I'm really looking forward to it. Beforehand, before I played, I was thinking, like, I'm not going to get hyped about it until it gets a little bit closer to release. But after playing it, now I just have that thirst to just keep discovering things.
I know, I just want to keep playing the game. But, yeah. So we're going to wrap it up right now because I am getting bored of talking on the podcast. But I'm glad that all you guys came through to view it. And really thank you to Ceirnian and Hates for joining me. Really appreciate you guys. I'm glad that you guys actually enjoyed SE6 as much as I did.
Great one says, wow, who would get bored talking to Hates?
That's a great question. Like chumps and losers.
Well, apparently Great One, since he has himself muted, doesn't he want to be in here?
Well, no, he's probably back in the shower. he knew we had to do this podcast tonight, so he stopped after he just cleaned like the North 40. But he's gonna go back and finish the job.
Yeah, it's been fun talking about the game.
Yeah, and we'll take a chance to I think the game will be at Texas Showdown for a preview play, and Great One is hosting some people over there or in his house. So we have some community going there to pre-play the game. So that'd be cool. Hopefully they have some sort of exhibition too.
They'll have a lot more time than we did to play, which will be nice too.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You guys can get some more info through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be cool. I'm thinking about making the trip there. I don't know if I can get the time, but I want to play more SE6 and I want to go on the
Didn't that mean you and Great One are gonna have to make a podcast right after?
Well, yeah. Well, so I want
double shower cast.
I want to do that. I want to see Great One shower. I want to go on the.
There's a lot of shit you gotta do.
Yeah, I want to go on the here's all the places that ghetto shit happened to me in Houston tour with Great One, and I also need to fuck him up for being cruel and saying mean things. So. He impugned my handsomeness, which is not acceptable.
Dang. Alright, guys. Well, thanks for viewing, everyone, and I will catch you guys later. Again, thanks, dudes.
Yep.
All right. Later.
Later.